This is INCRadio, DCEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ, or Iglesia ni Cristo.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to New Jersey Satellite Studio, where we show you the flavor of life here in the District of New Jersey.
Hey everyone, and welcome to INCRadio New Jersey Satellite Studios, where we show you the flavor of life. And for today's flavor, we're talking about leadership. And inside of leadership, what are the skills and the leadership examples that we can possess in our daily lives as well as in our everyday living? And Brother Jeff, we're going to start the conversation with maybe something about leadership that you want to share.
Sure, of course. So for today's episode, we're diving into what makes a great leader, from the skills that matter most to different leadership styles and why leading by example often speaks louder than words. Whether you're managing a team or just starting to think about leadership, here's a little something for you. So let's start it off. Now, how do you define leadership? We're going to start with Marisol. So, Marisol, how do you define leadership?
That's a very good. Well, leadership for me is being able to influence, and two words of being an inspiration and an influencer is what makes a great influence and inspire others towards a certain goal and others to achieve that goal. That makes you a good leader.
What is your definition of leadership?
I think Marisol hit the nail on the head when she said beautiful things about leadership. Honestly, leadership to me is just being lives what they talk about and who they are. So they don't necessarily talk about it. Like I think about my dad. He's a leader. He's a leader in our family. He's someone. So and then also being able to carry out what they do, what they say they're going to do. Not someone who just talks a lot, but actually is about that action. So yeah, just being in action of leaders.
Awesome. So action and consistency. Yeah. Now, the leader's the one that's leading the line, kind of go where it's supposed to go, and everyone falls in line after them. And that's a very young. They kind of point the way, people follow, and then at some point to follow the way and trust that those leading them are going in the right direction. So yeah, going to McKinsey and Company, which is a well-known consulting agency that talks, and we're not promoting, but the definition that I found from them was leadership guides people in a collective direction, enables them to work together and accomplish all kinds of definitions of leadership. But you see the commonalities that they have there.
In your life, that's the next question. So, Brother Jeff, how are you a leader in your life?
Oh, thanks for asking me, Sister Naima. I am, soon to be a follower, under my dad's household, and shout out to my dad and my own household, and God willing, a family. I will have to lead them in that way. Especially too, I am part of management in a tech company, so I have that I lead, and we try to get the job done in both ways. So also in the church too, I used to be a CFO leader and kids in that way, and leading adults at work, and you know, hopefully leading. And speaking of family, Marisol, how about you as CEO executive mom?
Well, I am a leader. I believe that parenthood is a very tough leadership to raise your kids in a manner that, like, what is your goal for my children? Is I just want them to be good human beings. I want that is my main goal. And it's tough, in this, it's a lot of negativity in this world. So I think I have to lead my boys, of course, with the help of my husband, Brother Brian, to being parents.
Oh, it really is. That sounds like it's exciting, but also potentially nerve wracking.
So moving on, let me ask you, have you had a own leadership approach? Let's start with Naima.
Yes, I've had people in my life that have led me to or I have a lot, a lot to share, but the one that comes to my mind honestly, is I can go straight to family. Um, I'm going to start off with, was the first influence for me to go to college and for me to, like see what. And so that, he also is the oldest. I'm the oldest girl in my family. So I had to be a leader for my sister and showing her how to be a young lady and I can only say how to be that way is from my mom. So my mom, like you said, I look up to and have looked up to for a long time. So, so kind and, nothing seems to her. She's just so easygoing. In a lot of ways, she could be very, let things go and managing life. My mom has done an amazing job doing that with all four of us. I could just commend her and commend any mom out there who takes that role on. It takes something to be not just a mom, but a good mom, like somebody there cares about you, just there and wants great things for you. So, but absolutely, my mom. She's like my huge influencer. Yeah. Yes.
How about you, Jeff? Who's your role model?
Each person that you're a follower under or alongside, you get to learn sometimes positive, sometimes negative. I really appreciate what Naima said that the leaders that she had, and that's some of the positive examples I've seen. I can think of even mentors in the church where they really led with heart, and they led in a way encouraged everyone everyone that they're leading to just get lined up, and even though the task ahead might be hard, to push forward and point to one of my former boss, actually several of my former bosses were so empathetic and understanding that I'm just learning. But then I've also seen other examples that were kind of harsh and just tried to push, and were really aggressive and that good to be assertive in pursuing the goals, but do so with heart. So examples, from actually a long history of having some jobs over the past, I don't know how many years. I don't want to date myself, but yeah. So shout out to
Yeah.
the bosses.
Well, as for me, easily, it's my parents. I always think what I am as a parent to my children are what I've seen from my parents, like how they raised me and my other siblings. So thankful and grateful for how they raised us. Like I've seen how hardworking, coming from a poor family. Like I can just imagine how hard work they put into making ends meet, like raising their five children, making sure sacrifice they make, so that's something that I value. And so not only that, it was my parents who showed me that trust and faith in the be the number one priority. So I carry that with me. So hi to
Wow,
my
that's
mom for being great role models.
oh, hi to watching live. I hope they watch the replay.
I'll make sure I'll share this link.
Honestly, there's so much to talk about. We've had some really great nuggets so far that had in our questions. So, you know, how do you stay self-aware and mention some qualities that we've seen in our leaders that we've seen as mentors, our parents? Our parents are probably our first leaders in our life. So, yeah, how do you continue growing as a leader since all of us are leaders? Let's start off with Naima.
I have areas of I never feel like I have things handled. Like when I say handled, I mean like I'm just looking to aspire to do better. And also looking at where I think taking risk is where you always get a chance to really, really evaluate and be aware. As a leader, you don't necessarily take everything the easy route, the least tracked or the least traveled but the hope is that you land on your feet. And I think for me, when I constantly put myself in those, most likely they're hard. I go through those motions and I always look at, I have a win. I look at where I can improve and then what I did to actually get. I think it's really important to be aware of self, but then also challenge yourself where you're going to lead yourself to.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah. Marisol, how
That's
about
a good
you?
one.
That was also my number one answer, self-reflection. But also, always like ask those people who are supportive of you, ask for constructive criticism, but also important to know where you're getting those criticisms from. Make sure it's from people who love you and who are supportive on you of you. Somebody whose goal is to put you down, that that's not good. So always seek to develop yourself, like never stop learning. Like where information is abundant for all of us. It's just a click of a mouse, right? Like always listening to the videos on YouTube or podcasts on how to develop, to be self-aware and grow as a leader. How about you, Jeff?
Yeah, be self-aware. Like every once in a while, yes, test yourself, test your limits, learn from it. Because they say complacency is explore out, and that's what you do as a leader. Because if you just stay in your comfort zone, everyone else, push and sense, push and sense, see what's going, and be self-aware. State, am I in a good state to be able to lead others? And then be, oh, this one's been really quiet. Let me check up on them. Oh, you got your head down, getting your worked up on them, and say, you're okay. Yeah, and sometimes they might be going through a hard time. So being the unit that you're working with, the team that you are leading, is also its entity, its own self. So you have to be that nucleus. So that's my background as a scientist, saying that yeah.
And the mitochondria and what's
Yeah, I've heard, but to that extent, I said it. Oh man. What advice would you give someone who doesn't have a former president or maybe like a governmental secretary? What advice would you give them to still be a leader where they are? Let's start with you, brother Jeff.
that's a good excuse, Jeff. The question is, what advice would you give someone who doesn't have a formal leadership but still to be a leader, although you don't have the designation of being a leader, to really take the initiative and like take leadership skills, like don't wait for somebody to give you permission, like the table, just take the initiative and lead the team, or just be a good role model, so that when they see all those leadership skills in you, and people will trust you and know that you can be a good leader.
Yeah, that's a great answer, Sister Marisol. You're like hitting them on the head. They are not in a formal leadership role like a president or like a secretary, but they are in their role. What would you give them to if they wanted to be a leader? What would you say?
Yeah, leadership, which is a role, it's a title. And then there's informal leadership, where that group, maybe you're not the president or whatever, but then you're under them. But also have that confidence, knowing that that leader put the trust in you to fulfill your roles around you, and even give them advice. A good leader is a good follower. And as you know, I like to I like to have a certain amount of consensus in there. I'm like, hey, what are your thoughts? I allow you to select, and I also like to do that in both my professional life and also personal life too. So informal leader, if you are not a formal leader, because eventually, if you're a good
Yeah, that sounds great. Oh, you guys are crushing it. I think can you just strengthen your skills and where you feel that are when it comes to like being a leader. Honestly, it's just really doing what you love, but then also like finding those things that make you who you are. So I think if you have a leadership role and you're working at it, you're doing your best at it, you continue to strengthen those skills in your area, people will notice you. Go above and beyond. Connect with people and build those relationships with people that are not necessarily things that you offer, and those things will become something that people would praise or give in what you're doing. And no matter what, most likely people, there's you never know, but again, don't do it for accolades, do it because it's you, and it matters either. So that's what I would say.
All right, so what top 2, 3, or leadership takeaways? Let's start with
Leadership takeaways. I would say stay true to you. Always trusting God, because honestly, that our faith is what really gives us the always look to those who you admire the most to really like for me, our Lord Jesus Christ is amazing leader. Like, if you look at just who he was, and I don't want to get too deep into it, but I mean, it's just that's a role to have a role model or to be led by, especially our church administration. So like motivational and encouraging to be great leaders in our, I would say those, if I don't know, I said more than one or three, but
How about you? How about you, Jeff?
All right, I'll sum it up in three. Trust in your team. Trust in those that are with you, alongside you, even if they want them to do what they need to do and fulfill their role. Trust in yourself, killer. And I know that every once in a while I have to check myself on that. And just like Nine, God, that He's guiding you in the way. Second one will be vision. Vision in terms of and guiding others, but you also have the vision to look backward to make sure that you to see how you are performing as a leader. And then the last one is learning. There is only one who's perfect, and He's also our greatest example. But is learning, and that includes us. So just know that you're constantly learning, and as long as we can recover from them, as long as we learn from our mistakes, we can keep moving forward.
You believe it? My three takeaways, you took two of them. So, so great minds think alike, right? So always would be trust, also like you mentioned, trust and learning. So my last takeaway is your leadership is not really about recognizing yourself. It's leadership is service to others. It's how you can inspire and influence others. So leadership is not about you or claiming for glory or recognition. So leadership is ours.
Awesome. Yeah, there's so much. So, how about some shout outs and greetings? Let's start off with you, Naima.
thank you for being in this conversation with me. I'm blessed to be a part of this leadership organization. And I want to also shout out my mom for having me and being a great role model to me. So thank you guys. And thank you to
Shout out to my mom and my dad. I will make sure this link is sent to your episode for you because I'm forever grateful for what you have done for me, for the leader, and my co-parent, Brother Brian, for being a great leader in leading our greathood, hopefully to greathood, right? And to my boys who are watching, and you sent to my in-laws. Have I don't know. just shout out to all of you. I'm thinking of you right now. How about you, Jeff?
Okay, yeah, definitely got to shout out my parents too. So, as many of you know, Brother Leo, sister, so definitely the first leaders in my life. So, definite shout out to them. Also, co-pilot in leadership in our household and in our family. So, then shout out also to my sister. She's also a leader. She's been a leader in the church. She's been fantastic at that for several years, and it's a lot of dedication. Shout out to my in-laws too. And then also some other shout outs too. So happy birthday, Arnel Paciente, Bergen Zone. Happy birthday to former New Jersey and Charlotte in Washington, D.C. You've seen her on their broadcasts. All right. I think we'll go to.
all right. So we want to do a bit of a Aston. Congratulations, Aston, for being super active. Or the third place winner, the local congregation of Elizabeth, the local congregation of Whippany. All right, Whippany. And for the first place winner, Sister Marisol.
Winslow, keep up the good work, Winslow.
How many days?
Like three weeks.
We're really doing a great job. The great job was awesome. And on the show, we really appreciate you.
All right, and for our but as always, just check with your local congregation for details on local events.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in for today's show. And if you found it valuable, make sure you please subscribe and like for more content like this, and share the link below. And if this topic is something that you want to hear more about, please feel free to conversation.
All right. Before we go, we'd like to thank our church administration for their continued support and leadership to INCRadio and allowing us to have this show where we can stay connected and learn together with others and generate the next generation of leaders. We want to acknowledge our district supervising minister, Brother Ruben Bustos Jr., our Christian Family Organization overseer, Brother Royal, multimedia advisor, Brother Timothy James Malabanan. We especially thank the leadership, Eduardo Manalo, and our deputy executive minister, Brother Angelo Manalo. We'd also like to thank our station manager, Brother Wally Tarai, and our techs in the main studio and also here in New Jersey.
And before we say goodbye, we again thank you all our viewers for the next episode. Bye.